Hei, mina olen Liisa-Indra ja olen praegu Luksemburgis loomaõiguste konverentsil, rahvusvahelisel loomaõiguste konverentsil. Ja ma tutvustan teile ühte meest, kes on olnud selle taga, et viimasel aastal on tulnud välja järjest uudiseid selle kohta, et erinevad riigid tunnustavad loomi kui mitte inimesest persoone ja ka tundlikke olendeid. A few years ago, I noticed that many different countries started to declare animals as sentient beings, and now I think that actually you are behind that flood. I remember a chimpanzee that was declared a personhood. So could you specify what is person and what is personhood?
Sure. Well, person and personhood are really the same thing. But a person is an entity who has the capacity for legal rights. So it could be a human being, it could be a national park, it could be a river, it could be an idol. In fact, all of those things have actually been declared to be persons, by courts in some countries, as have chimpanzees.
Mm-hmm. So you actually focused your point to one chimpanzee, right? So not all chimpanzees would have personhood, but only.
Well, the way at least it works in the common law countries or in the United States is if we win habeas corpus for one chimpanzee and the high court of that state agrees, then in essence all chimpanzees within that jurisdiction, say within the state of New York, would be legal persons who would have that at least the right to bodily liberty that's protected by writ of habeas corpus. When we go into court, there's about 15 or 20 things that we have to win, and we've generally won more and more of them, but we haven't been able to win all of them in one suit. And so we take what we win and then we try to build on it in the next suit.
So what is habeas corpus?
Habeas corpus is Latin for you have the body, and what that means is that if someone is detaining or imprisoning someone else, then a third party can go into court and tell the judge that this person is being imprisoned by someone else, and ask the judge to issue the writ of habeas corpus, meaning you have the body, and that writ is then served on the master or the warden or whoever's imprisoning the prisoner, and that person is required then to bring the prisoner into court and give a legally sufficient reason why he can imprison them. And if he can't do it, then the judge will immediately order that person to be released.
Why did you choose chimpanzees first?
We chose chimpanzees because we think that there's an extraordinary amount of scientific evidence that shows how autonomous they are, how conscious they are, how intelligent they are, and we were especially interested in the idea of how autonomous they were because when we began to file suits in the state of New York, the judges in the state of New York made it really clear that they highly valued autonomy, and certainly in humans. And we argue, well, it's not just in humans you value autonomy. Any being who has the ability to choose what she wants to do in life, you think that she ought to be able to do that. And so it doesn't matter what her species, whether she's a chimpanzee or whether she's a human. And we can show you that this chimpanzee is autonomous.
Yesterday you told that next animals are going to be elephants?
Yes, we're filing a lawsuit in the next 4 weeks on behalf of elephants in a traveling circus in the United States. And then we're going to be moving against SeaWorld to try to have orcas declared persons who have the right to get out of SeaWorld and go into a sanctuary.
You see where this is going, right? So farm animals are at some point going to come in this line?
What we do is try to open up the door or break through that wall that says only humans can be persons. And we try to have the courts recognize, and the parliaments too, recognize that no, it's not what your species is, it's who you are in some way. And so we want judges to be able to begin to look at the issue of not what your species is, but what kind of entity are you? Are you the kind of entity for whatever reason ought to have rights? And if so, what rights should you have?
What kind of personhoods do we have besides like human?
Well, you have in New Zealand, a national park is said to be a person. A river is a person. In India, a Hindu idol has been a person. The holy books of the Sikh religion is a person. A mosque has been a person. A person simply means that as far as the law goes in that jurisdiction, that it counts. And so the way a legal jurisdiction specifies that something counts is that it makes them a person.
How much have you felt that you have to educate judges and they rely on their own biases?
Judges have never seen this problem before, and so the first judges we came to, they really didn't know what to make of what we're doing at all, because non-human animals have been things and not persons for more than 2,000 years, since Roman times. So all of a sudden we come out of nowhere and start arguing that they ought to be persons. So we don't expect them to just say, oh yeah, we've been wrong for 2,000 years. We expect that we're going to have a long, intense struggle, and we're having that, but we think that we're going to prevail, not only in the United States, but elsewhere.
So when was this when you first filed your first?
We filed our first suit on December 5th, 2013. So we're almost 3.5 years into it's going to be a very long-term fight.
How long do you think it's going to take for the elephants?
I think that the first non-human animal in the United States to be a person is going to be soon. In Argentina, a chimpanzee has already been declared to be a non-human person. About a month ago in Colombia, a bear was said to be a person by one level of the Colombian Supreme Court, and then it was overturned by another level of the Colombian Supreme Court, and now it's on appeal to a third level of the Colombian Supreme Court, so we don't know what is going to happen. And there have been other cases in which lower judges have found, for example, an orangutan was a person, but the higher court ended up deciding the case on another ground. So you're beginning to see judges, here and there say, okay, these arguments that are being made, they're both backed by the evidence and they're just.
You said that one judge told you that you overlooked the fact that your client is not a person.
He's not a human.
He's not a human.
Right.
So what did you answer?
Well, we haven't been able to answer her because she wrote a written decision. So we're about to begin trying to answer that to the highest court. The answer we made is that every time somebody fights for the personhood of someone else, you overlook the fact that they're not someone else. So, for example, when women tried to have rights, their lawyers overlooked the fact they weren't men. Or when black people tried to get rights, their lawyers overlooked the fact that they weren't white. Well, we're overlooking the fact that the chimpanzees aren't human. The fact is that whether you're white, or whether you're a male or whether you're not human are irrelevant facts. The question is, who are you? Are you the kind of entity who ought to be a person? And if so, what rights should you have based upon how you're made up?
Love your work. Tell me just one more thing. How should one start? You did this in the States. There are
Yes.
many people doing this all over the world, but
Yes.
how should one start when we want to declare non-human rights
Yes.
to animals in like any country?
Well, we're working with lawyers right now, I think, in 13 countries, and so people who form a group and want to speak with us, I oftentimes come down. I've been to Argentina twice. I think I changed planes in Santiago each time. So that's the only time I've been to Chile, and so we come down and we speak with them, and then we don't tell them what they should do. We just give them the benefit, whatever it's worth, of our experience, and then try to help guide them, because we've run into a lot of issues and we've learned a lot. But it's really up to them as to whether they think, for example, they should go to the courts or should they go to the parliaments, or should they go to both, and what kind of arguments should they make, based upon, say, the law of Chile. Well, that's something that they would be in a much better position to understand than we would.
Have you had any contact with Scandinavia or Estonia?
Yeah, we are actually working with lawyers both in Sweden and in Finland.
So something's gonna come up from there too.
We hope so.
Thank you for
Thank
the work
you.
that you do, and thank you for inspiring us.
Oh, you're very welcome.
This is Stephen Weiss. Do you have a website that?
Yes, nonhumanrights.org.
Go there. Ciao.